Story 1. Communication is vital, and neglecting it leads to misunderstandings and resentment. Over time, failing to express feelings, needs, or concerns can create distance between partners, making it harder to reconnect. Story 2. Talk about your end-of-life wishes early, as things can go wrong way earlier than you think they will. My husband had a near-fatal brain hemorrhage, and when it was looking like he wouldn't pull through, I had to make a lot of decisions without knowing what his wishes were because we'd only been married 18 months and thought we'd have plenty of time to figure those things out. He thankfully made an excellent recovery, but it was a scary time full of uncertainty. Story 3. Things happen. You can do everything right, choose the right partner, build a solid relationship, and still end up a single mother. Nobody is safe from random accidents and death. Story 4. People move away from pain and toward pleasure, so if your hard times are persistent, people will begin moving away, even if it does not seem fair. It is human nature. Story 5. Even the most effortless, natural bonds will wither away if you don't take care of them. It's like taking care of your own body. You have to take care of it, love it, be tough on it, but you have to cater to its needs. Story 6. That I needed to pay more attention to the red flags and take off the damn rose-colored glasses. I was picking terrible, self-absorbed weirdos. Thankfully, that worked, and I have been in a healthy long-term relationship with my wonderful boyfriend for 3 years. Story 7. There is no hurry. We will have the rest of our life together can apparently easily mean there is a lot of hurry because I am breaking up with you in 8 days. Story 8. That love doesn't really last. It will almost always come to an end, come and go. You have to choose to still stay and put the effort in if you want the relationship to work. Story 9. The love most friendships have is greater than most romantic relationships. You can talk every day and say you love each other, but then she can break up with you through text for no reason, and you never see each other again. The friend you watch sports with or whatever will still be excited to see you 10 years from now. Story 10. It's not normal to have to beg for attention or affection. Don't lower your standards because you love someone. Effectively communicate with them so your standards can be met. Story 11. Don't let pride keep you from admitting someone is not good for you. Also, consider the sunk cost fallacy. Just because you wasted 7 years on a mistake doesn't mean you have to stay with them. Story 12. If she cheats with you, she will cheat on you. I met her when she was in a relationship. We began messing around, and she eventually left her previous partner for me. 4 years later, she did it all over again, except I was the one cheated on. Story 13. Realizing that sometimes love isn't enough. No matter how much you care, if mutual respect and understanding aren't there, the relationship won't work. Story 14. Even if you have done nothing wrong, you are her safe space, so you will catch the brunt of her anger. She is not comfortable expressing it to anyone else, so your shoes on the living room floor will instantly blow up into a 5-alarm blaze. Story 15. Taught me to have a backup plan always in life because a relationship can take you to the lowest point of your life, and without a backup plan, you eventually lose hope. You have to recollect yourself all over again and put the pieces that one person broken you back together, but this time alone. So always have a backup plan. Story 16. Look at who you are by the end of the day. Are you with someone who makes you happier, nicer, better, kinder? Do you feel like a better person overall because of the time you spend with them? Do you enjoy them? Can you be honest with them when you need to? Is this your best friend or someone quantifying your value to others? Are you doing the same to them? Is it a rough patch or is this life? Can you bring this person around your friends and family? Are they a teammate or a chore? No relationship is going to be perfect or even easy at times. You're going to be a pain sometimes. They're going to be a pain sometimes. Neither of you is going to be perfect for each other, and nothing lines up perfectly. But by the end of the day, generally, are things better because they're with you? If the answer is no, it doesn't matter how much time you spent together or how much you care for or about them or how much history you have. Put in the work to fix it, or if that's not working, then make a choice to move on for both of you and for yourself. It's not a failure. It's change. Story 17. Love isn't enough. Constant effort is required. You can be right or you can be happy. Pick one. By the time you realize your relationship needs work, it's often already too late. Story 18. All you need is love. That's a real crock of shit. Of course, it helps you bond with your partner, but if you don't have shared interests and beliefs, things can fall apart. After 29 years of marriage, we were done. Story 19. Any signs of instability will only grow. If a situation starts going bad early, leave. The other person is still in that stage where they are trying to hide their negatives. Story 20. Complacency is dangerous. When a woman has mentally checked out of a relationship, there is really no going back. She's just biding her time to end things. Story 21. People who are needy and not thinking will take all you have and make you needy yourself. It is not a stretch for us to think about a drowning victim latching onto the lifeguard and drowning them, but it is the same thing. Story 22. That people change whether they want to or not. Sometimes it works for you and sometimes it doesn't, but you can't force people to feel things or be who you want them to be. Story 23. When a significant other is treating you badly, trying to be a light, a model, an example to them of how a person should behave is just being a doormat. Story 24. Always consistently work on yourself for yourself in a way that's easygoing and someone else will like you. Understand your values and ask your partner if they are interested in you and your values. Story 25. I learned a lot from it, but the biggest thing I learned is that a breakup does not have to come from someone making a mistake. Sometimes it is simply the best thing. Story 26. Figure out your relationship problems with your significant other before anyone else. It's okay to get a second perspective, but I made the mistake of venting my issues to friends, and they talked me into breaking up with her. She wasn't perfect, but nothing she did was outlandishly bad, and I probably ended things sooner than I should have. It has been 4 years, and I have yet to be in another relationship since then. Story 27. It is all too easy to find someone that matches your damage. Not the same damage. Their damage fits like a jigsaw puzzle into your damage, and you both feed each other's monster. Story 28. Any relationship, no matter how well established, will die if neglected. Tell the people you love that you love them. Mean it. Show it in how you interact with them. Story 29. Try to stay grounded. Live in the present. Do not get too caught up in what happened before or how it was before. You cannot change it. You cannot go back. Do not get too caught up in the future, what you hope will happen or what you are afraid will happen. None of that is real. Things can always change. Pay attention to how you feel today, how things are today, what is real right now. It is okay to have hope. It is great to have memories, but those things can cloud what is actually happening in your relationship. Story 30. Just because you are starved for love and affection doesn't mean you should blindly give in to whatever the other person wants because you are afraid they will not love you anymore. It's okay to be alone. Story 31. Just how well some people can lie. They portray themselves to be someone they are not. Honestly, just be yourself. Lies are no way to start a relationship. Story 32. Love is not forever. People and their priorities and their desires for the future change. This is, I think, completely okay and normal. It just hurts when someone falls out of love with you and wants their life to go in a different direction. Story 33. That you shouldn't mistreat yourself for things that are not in your control. That if someone wants to do something, they will do it, whether you ask or not. So preserve your mental health because if it goes wrong, you suffer afterwards and not in the entire process. Story 34. Have your own friends and interests. One of my boyfriends made my life all about him. When we broke up, I thought our friends wouldn't take sides. They wouldn't even speak to me afterward and would walk straight past me in the street without even saying hello. Never let them stop you from doing anything. One controlled where I worked, told me how I could dress, and who I could and couldn't talk to. This is controlling and abusive. Stand up for yourself and say this is not acceptable. If it continues, leave. Story 35. If someone decides that they do not want you, regardless of marriage or children or anything, it is very possible that nothing you do, give, sacrifice, or put up with will change their mind. Do not keep giving all that you have and then realize a few years later that it will all be gone, and you will still be thrown away anyway. Story 36. Your partner's family is not your family, and they will never truly accept you in the same way, no matter how welcome or loved they make you feel for the time being. Story 37. Your closest ally can turn on you in an instant. Dementia can turn people into a paranoid wreck and cause them to look at you as the enemy after you have been completely loyal to them for over 40 years. Story 38. When they show you who they are, believe them. You cannot help someone who does not want to help themselves. If they loved you, they would not downplay your accomplishments or force you to put your dreams on the back burner, because they have not figured out their life yet, and they do not want to get left behind. Story 39. Often people are trying to get an unmet need from childhood met through a partner, like trying to get the love that they didn't get from their mother or father, and it ends up being a fantasy that causes them to manipulate. Externalizing what you don't think you have within to another person is futile. Seeking love, self-worth, and security outside ourselves is like the sun looking outside itself for light and warmth. Story 40. To keep constant communication, you may think things are going well, but you may be wrong. If someone seems uninterested because you want to talk about things, move on. Red flag. Story 41. When your friends tell you about the red flags, it is okay to look for them. Sometimes your friends are wrong, but other times they are trying to show you how crazy your relationship really is. Story 42. You cannot save people. Watching my ex completely self-destruct and burn down every good thing in their life, including our relationship because of unresolved trauma, was one of the most helpless feelings I have ever had. There was nothing I could do but watch the train wreck happen and remove myself for my own safety. 3 years down the drain. Story 43. Be true to yourself. It's okay to grow as a person, even if it is in different directions. Don't let someone hold you back from becoming who you need to be, even if that doesn't line up with who they want or need you to be. Story 44. Do not be the one constantly making the compromise, and do not date a woman who defends her narcissistic, abusive mother, since she will behave exactly like her towards you. Story 45. Your closest friend can one day just decide to not be friends anymore, for no reason at all. You could try to call or message to ask what's up to resolve or work out any issues, but not everyone gets closure. Don't beat yourself up for it. Accept it and move on. Story 46. Value yourself. Don't just go with things that you are uncomfortable with because you don't want to rock the boat. It's unfair to them, and it's ultimately unfair to you. Avoiding conflict will make you avoid communication. Avoiding communication will make you and your significant other wonder why you're even together at all. Story 47. Listen to your gut. I wish I had left earlier. We just were not compatible in the end. I feel like I wasted a good portion of my 20s. I stayed because I was scared of starting over, but in the end, starting over is exactly what I needed to do. Story 48. Breakups are tough, but postponing a breakup when you know it needs to happen makes the breakup a lot worse. If you are not happy or they are not happy, get out as soon as humanly possible. Also, do not let your partner move out while you are not there, or they will steal a bunch of your stuff. Story 49. My deepest friendship taught me a bitter life lesson. It showed me a pattern I find in friends and partners. Our friendship dissolved in a really harsh way, and I had to go into therapy. In therapy, I became aware of the patterns and was able to stop them from forming in new friendships. The harsh reality is that life and its bonds are very fragile, even if we firmly believe they are unbreakable. Story 50. I don't know, sometimes I think it would have been better if I didn't put other people's needs ahead of my own. Then again, isn't that what you are supposed to do in love? Story 51. Someone can love you very, very well for 21 years, 19 years of marriage, be a great dad and husband all that time, then decide he doesn't like you anymore and completely shut down and treat you like you are nothing but an annoyance, an inconvenience, and way too different from him to be his wife. Story 52. Boring isn't always boring. Sometimes it's safe, and society has conditioned us to see healthy as dull. We throw away nice relationships for exciting ones, then realize we had the best thing or a good thing in hindsight. Story 53. Your partner will never change unless they want to change. Nothing you do will affect that. You either love them for who they are or leave. Sometimes, Loving someone for who they are brings more peace, and sometimes leaving does. Sometimes what brought you peace 5 years ago no longer does, in which case it's time to leave. Story 54. No matter how hard you try or love someone or invest in them, abuse and addiction are not going to stop unless they want to. And just because someone lets go of something they are addicted to, the addictive behaviors are not going to go away unless they get professional help. Chances are good they will just replace one addiction with another. Story 55. A bitter life lesson I learned from my longest relationship is that love alone isn't enough. No matter how much you care about someone, without mutual effort, communication, and respect, things will fall apart. Story 56. A bitter life lesson I learned from my longest relationship is that love alone is not enough. No matter how much you care for someone, if communication, trust, and mutual effort are not there, things will eventually fall apart. It is tough to accept, but sometimes love does not fix everything.